generally described as circuitous. He goes all over the place, and then he repeats, and it gets even more confusing. So he repeats some more, and then it gets even cloudier. But it's beautiful. His language is stunning, especially in the Greek. He's a beautiful, beautiful writer and speaker. But for those of us who are trying to preach on him, he's incredibly complicated because he doesn't just say things. He likes to speak in metaphor. And one of his big metaphors is light and dark. He loves to speak in light and dark. So why am I saying all of this? Because our gospel today is incredibly confusing. But if you're out and about in the world, what is the one piece of scripture that everyone can quote? John 3:16. They can't quote it, but they can tell it to you. Yeah, nobody can actually tell you what that says, but they can. It's short enough that you can write it under that black stuff that you wear when you're a football player. Can you tell football? Like, not my sport, clearly. But there's stuff that they put under there, and then they write 3:16 on it. Or you're driving down the road, and there's this really obnoxious person who cannot drive. They can never drive. Have you ever noticed this? Most irritating drivers. And you want to honk, and then you look up, and they've got this bumper sticker. And it says, John 3:16. And you're like, oh, crap. Oh, there's one of them again. So you're right, absolutely right. Nobody can actually quote it, but everyone likes to go to this passage as like, this is the kernel of Christianity. What do I believe? John 3:16. And then every few years it comes around and we have to preach on it, and somebody reads it to you and you're like, what? What? That's like all of John, by the way. If you want to feel confused, like you don't know what's going on in your life, just read John for a while. Because you'll be like, what? Interesting side fact. Did you know that John was originally not supposed to be in the canonical Gospels? He wasn't actually supposed to make it into the Bible because he's just way too Gnostic. I know. Don't you love it when I get these little side notes in history? You say no, you don't. But I just get so excited about them that I have to share them. So there was a deal made because, you know, the other one that almost didn't make the cut, Revelation, because, like, other weird things that make you, huh? I don't know. Like, Buddhism seems nice. So there were some books, and they were kind of wheeling and dealing because that's how you make a Bible. And they're like, but I really, really want Revelation in. I don't like Revelation. What if I give you John? Deal. So that's how John gets in. That's how Revelation got into. There's some wheeling and dealing that goes on. A little side fact, has nothing to do with our sermon today, but I just like to say it. Okay, so this passage comes out of a conversation with Nicodemus. Now, Nicodemus is a Pharisee. He's very high up in the church. And Jesus has been going around doing his Jesus thing. And Nicodemus is like doing exactly the same thing that we're doing this morning, going, huh? Eh? And yet there's something in it that speaks to him. So, because you don't want other people when you're high up to know that you're going, So what do? You go in the dark of night. So he slinks off and he finds Jesus in the dead of night. And he's like, Jesus, what's up with all that stuff you've been saying? And then we get just like Jesus and his word vomit. And we get all these different passages that get cherry-picked and pulled out. But really, at the core of this, what this is really, truly about is that you have a brilliant, learned, successful man who is utterly confused. Utterly confused. And you can just imagine how much Jesus is enjoying this, right? I mean, like, we've all had that conversation with a really, really brilliant person, and you, like, floor them, and it's the greatest feeling in the world, is it not? Am I the only person who loves that? And so Jesus has these moments with Nicodemus. In fact, Nicodemus leaves still confused. So there isn't closure on this. It isn't like Nicodemus is all of a sudden like, oh, got it. joining the disciples, ditching the Pharisee thing, getting on your bandwagon, dude. Is not what happens. He's still going, eh? And so he leaves. And yet, he does have this sense that there's something here. There's something here. And I'm confused, and I don't get it, but there's something here. And the most complicated thing that Jesus says to him is that you've got to let it go. That to really, truly get this, you've got to let your success go, your brilliance go, everything that you think you know, you've got to let it go. So at the very core of this is a brilliant, successful man who is utterly confused and bewildered. Utterly confused. And so the irony of this is that what do people like to do? They like to distill it down into, what is the core of Christianity? John 3:16. But what this is all about is that we want simplicity. We want to understand. We want it to be clear and obvious. But it isn't. In truth, Christianity and faith only come after searching and being utterly confused and bewildered, and you don't know what's happening. It turns everything on its head. If you haven't slunk into the dark of night, utterly confused, bewildered, and unknowing of what's going on in Christianity, you haven't done it right. If you haven't come out of that dark night and still been like, I still don't completely understand, but I'm going to wrestle with it anyway, then folks, you're not doing it right. Because when we truly wrestle with our faith, we go, That is at the very, very core. It is not John 3:16 that's at the core of the Christian faith. You know what's at the core of the Christian faith? Coming face to face with God and going, Because we want answers. We want to feel like we understand it. We want to know. We want to be successful. We want to be learned. We want to get it. And we want to wrap it all up in a package. And let me tell you, that is the biggest temptation as a preacher. The biggest temptation of a preacher is this. When you and I come to a passage, I want you to be okay with it. I want us to wrestle for a few minutes. And when you leave, I want you to have a kernel. I want to wrap it up in a nice little package that you can take home. And you'll be like, yes, I feel fed. I'm ready for the rest of the week. That is our number one temptation, because I want that. I want Christianity to be comfortable for you. I do. I want it to be comfortable for me. But it isn't. And so I'm not going to wrap it up today. Because here's the thing that I think we all need. I think we need to sit in our discomfort. I think we need to spend a little bit more time going, Because that is the power of the gospel. Not an easy, wrapped up, glistening, glittery package that somebody hands to you, and they always have great teeth. Have you ever noticed? They always have, great hair and great teeth and a floppy Bible. I feel like when you graduate from seminary, you should get yourself a floppy Bible. Because you know you'll be a good preacher if you can flop a Bible. Quite the same effect, is it? But I'm not going to do that, because I don't think that's what we need. I think what we need is a little bit more time like Nicodemus. We need a few more evenings and nights where we sneak off because we just don't understand. And we understand so little that it's embarrassing. It makes us uncomfortable, and it worries us that we don't get it. We need that. So I'm not going to offer us any answers today. What I am going to say is that in doing that, in wrestling with your faith and coming to God and going, I have no clue what you just said, but I do know I'm really uncomfortable right now. Because I know that in those moments come the deepest, most earth-shattering faith and results. but you got to be willing to do it. So today I ask that our hero be Nicodemus. Just trust. Just trust that in not having answers, you'll find God.